Hello and welcome to a new video. Today you're gonna take a look at the Mega Alakazam in the Master League here with Megas allowed. This is of course not an official format. I just asked on Twitter for others to challenge me, level 40 Pokemon only. Some also brought level 50 Pokemon, which sometimes happens I guess. But also then they were also allowed to use a Mega Pokemon. They didn't have to use a Mega Pokemon, but they knew I would use one. They most likely also knew which one I would use. And they were also able to use one. So we're going to see some other Mega Pokemon in comparison as well. As we face a Ho-Oh here, I should have most likely went into my Dragonite instead to farm this thing down here, but we will be able to shield this move up and we see a Dialga coming in. We have counter on this. This is a legacy move. I used my Elite TM to get this move because of Dialga. You will be able to just counter this thing down with one Fire Punch. The thing with Mega Alakazam is you see the CP, it's pretty high for being only level 40, which means it has a lot of attack, but sadly it doesn't have a lot of defense, which means we are getting pretty easily farmed down even by this Mewtwo with his Psycho Cuts. So yeah, it's a crazy glass cannon basically. You will be able to do some, like look at the damage of the Fire Punch though, like you will be able to do a lot of damage back, but you cannot take anything. So we can take this Focus Blast on the Melmetal and we can take also a Side Strike still on our Dragonite, which now also has access to Superpower here, which is going to be interesting to take a look at, as we can see that they have a Mewtwo. And we see that we win this game. Next opponent, we will see that they have a Melmetal against Dialga. Very good lead for me. Let's see if this is also, it's also level 40 Dialga. Very good there. It's a Hundo Dialga, but not best buddied right now. As we see that they're going to go ahead and go for one charge move here. The charge move going to be a Thunder. We will survive and we can go for one Superpower here real quick, which would do a lot of damage against the Dialga. Do they want to swap out? I want to swap out into my Alakazam, trying to get some extra damage, getting the Meloetta out, which got a boost recently with the Quick Attack. It has access to Quick Attack, now generates energy very fast, and is actually very viable for the Master League. I might power up my Meloetta. My Meloetta has horrible IVs, but we have to take a look at this later. Maybe I even use it in the Ultra League when it's coming up. Because yeah, it got boosted with the Quick Attack, might be a little bit better to play now. As we see some lag here, we're just floating around and we will be able to KO this Meloetta. They are basically down to one Pokemon now. Let's see which one it's going to be. It's a Mega Gyarados. We can go ahead, go for one last effort Fire Punch here against this Pokemon, and we will be able to get the shield from them as well. We swap into our Melmetal, we can go for one Superpower. The Superpower will do enough to, would have done enough to do a lot, like nearly put him into red, I would say. As we can go for another one, which actually will put him into the yellow health still. And now it's only our Alakazam, our Dragonite, and this Gyarados alive. I'm gonna go into my Alakazam, hoping that they would throw instantly just because they panicked, but they didn't. And now we're gonna hope that they don't have Outrage here, and they didn't. They have Crunch. We will be able to survive those crunches. We will be able to farm down the Dialga, and we have our Charge move stored, which now will allow us to KO the opponent here. As we see the Dragonclaw coming through, we will be able to KO the Gyarados and we will see the next opponent now. Next opponent going to have a Melmetal against the Dialga again. Very good lead for me. I expected a lot of Dialga leads. It's very safe in this kind of meta. It's another Hundo that's not best buddied yet, but doesn't really matter because the best buddy is mainly important when you have your own Dialga. I didn't have my Dialga equipped either here, so it's fine. I'm going to bait. I wasn't expecting that they would shield, I just didn't want to throw my move and they had so much energy, so I'm just gonna go now for my Superpower, trying to get this thing as low as I can so I can maybe farm it down with counter. I'm going to swap, they swap at the same time into the Zacian. Zacian going to be a problem later on as well. This thing is a hard counter to basically everything that we have here, but it's basically for the entire Master League meta anyway, unless you run Ho-Oh, and even then they have Wild Charge, or the Play Rough, or the Close Combat. It really depends on what you face against it. But this Pokemon going to be a problem for my team, as we see that they can go for some Play Roughs, but yeah, we're going to be very close to being down here. We see that they go for a Play Rough. We can go for one Rock Slide. Do they let this move go through? I hope they do, because they're really weak to it in the back. But they're going to shield up, of course, and I'm going to try to catch the move on my Dragonite. Didn't work out, but we see a Beedrill coming in here. Mega Beedrill. We can go for the charge move here. It's going to be a Dragonclaw, and we can see that it actually destroys this Pokemon. Mega Beedrill is luckily horrible, so we can go ahead, let this Play Rough go through. Our Dragonite gonna go down. down, but we can go for one more Rock Slide here real quick, which will destroy the Zacian, and we will be able to now KO the Dialga as well in the back with one more superpower. It's going to be an Iron Head because they didn't have a lot of energy yet, so this Iron Head will not do enough. Superpower comes through, and this is going to be a good game. Let's see what the next opponent gonna bring here. We see the next opponent having we have Meloetta against Excadrill. Excadrill here against us. I never really look at the CP. Like, this is also a level 41, so good thing that they actually also use level 40 Pokemon. As we see them going for a charge move, I can shield. I still have my superpower, and of course I have also my superpower for this Zacian. Very nice swap by the opponent here, perfectly catching my superpower. And now I'm pretty much screwed, because what am I supposed to do? I tried to catch a move here on my Alakazam, but yeah, like the Zacian going to be a little bit tricky as they have a wild charge as well. We don't tank a single move with our Alakazam, so this is going to be a fun ride, I can tell you. We can go for one Fire Punch, get the shield, and we get this thing pretty low with the counter. But of course they have access to the wild charge, they have access to, sadly, also the close combat, so I cannot really go to my steel type. And I try to farm it down with my Dragonite. I know I'm a dragon against a fairy, but they are 4 times debuffed. Can I just farm them down, please? Nope, and they survive with 1 HP in a Dream. And I think if I would have KO'd them there instead of them surviving with 1 HP in a Dream, I would have been able to win this game, maybe. Depending, yeah, I definitely would have been able to win this game, I think. As we see a Lugia in the back. I mean, not definitely, because they're doing a nice swap here. They just want to get some energy on there. I think I still would have lost, actually, because they had so much energy still on the Excadrill. Very nice play by them here, as we see that we're gonna lose this game. Next opponent, they definitely run a level 50 Pokemon against me, which is this Magnezone. This is a level 50 Magnezone, and this is gonna come also into play later, as we can go for a superpower. This would KO a level 40 Magnezone, but of course not a level 50 Magnezone, as we can go for one counter, still get this thing low. This Gyarados is at least level 40, so it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle playing against something 10 levels higher. But we can go ahead, go for one Fire Punch and go for another one here, getting the first shield and also being able to get this thing to the red half. I have to try to farm down with the Meloetta, and sadly they can still get to a move. Expecting a Shadow Ball, I'm going to shield this move up, but it's only a Psychic, which had a chance to debuff me. But Magnezone coming in, I'm going to shield it up, might be the Wild Charge, as I can swap out now at the same time, but they're actually going to swap into the Mamoswine. I can go ahead, go for the superpower here. Superpower going to get shielded. I can go for another superpower here, and this will also, no, this can't be shielded. They don't have a shield anymore, so that's very low now. I should have went immediately for my another superpower, to be honest, at this point of time, because I would have been able to just KO them, and I don't know why I didn't do this, but that's me. I would have easily been able to win this game then as well. Kind of a mistake on my part, but of course they actually can still get to another move here. I actually don't know where they got the energy, to be honest. They threw already their Wild Charge before, so I was like, but yeah, they got to another one, and this is going to be a good game. Would have definitely been a win for us as well if it's a level 40 version of it. But we see the next opponent. We see an Excadrill here, which is going to also be a level 40 version, as we can go for superpower here. This is my normal play against this kind of scenario. Of course, we would lose the match here, but you're going to be able to get to the second superpower before they get to their second drill run. So you can go for 2 superpowers. You will be able to get this thing super low, and you will be able to then swap out into your counter user like the Alakazam, which will do massive damage, as you can see here, putting this thing into the range where it even gets KO'd from the counter that just went through. So we get rid of this Pokemon, as we see a Gyarados coming in. Could have been a Mega one, but we can just go for one Shadow Ball here. This will do a lot of damage, and we can see that they are letting this move go through. I can go into my Dragonite, farm this thing down, and I should get a little bit of energy here. I wasn't sure if I could Thunder Shock it down. Of course, Thunder Shock would be double super effective, but also a little bit weaker in terms of damage output compared to the Dragon Breath. So I opted to go for my Dragonite here, going for one Dragon Claw. We'll get the shield from my opponent, as we see the very cool Ho-Oh here. The Apex Shadow Ho-Oh, which is very, very nice. Like, I really like the design of this Pokemon. I actually purified my Apex Lugia because now I have a Hundo, and the Hundo is way better than the Shadow version anyway, so Now I have a cool looking Lugia that I still have to build when we get it back in trades because I don't have the XL candy yet. But yeah, this is a Mega Gyarados against us. Pretty decent lead for us, especially as we have access to superpower. They have only the Dragon Breath, which means they are resisted. Still, it's an awkward matchup because Gyarados is one of the best Pokemon in this kind of meta, as they swap perfectly into their Mewtwo. Very nice play by the opponent, but we can now go into our Dragonite, trying to farm this thing down. And we will try to also go for a charge move. We can't survive one Side Strike, so I'm going to let this move go through as well. Saving my shields for my Alakazam in the back, as we can go for more Dragon Claw. This Dragon Claw will KO the opponent, and they will let it go as well. As we can go ahead and go for one more Dragon Claw here, we wouldn't be able to get to the other move. But do they know it? They do not know it, and they're going to shield this move even though it would be neutral because they expected my other move. As we can go into our we can actually go into our Meloetta first and then go into our Alakazam. As we get this thing super low, now we can counter it down, we can shield this move up, and let's see what they have in the back. It's going to be a Kyogre actually. Kyogre being a double water team here, kind of interesting. We have to kind of bait here because they would be able to farm us down. We are super squishy, so we have to try to bait with the Fire Punch. Can we get the bait correctly here? Please shield this move, and they do shield this move, so we can go for the Shadow Ball, and we will be able to KO this thing, and we also will be able now to easily win this game as we can counter down in this Gyarados. Good game to my opponent. Next opponent here, we're going to see some flowers from them, but we're also going to see some Dialgas from them. We can go ahead and go for some superpower against this thing, of course. Actually, I think the next time I would play this kind of team, I would go for straight superpower against Dialga because my backline is really good. So I can just go ahead and go for superpower spam and I would be fine. As we see them going into their Mewtwo, I have to throw again with my Pokemon here. But of course, we see Impeta there. I thought they would try to build up further, but of course we see Impeta here. And this is kind of annoying because I could have got my energy or I could have thrown before and I wouldn't got this damage on me, which is kind of nice, but like, yeah, it's fine. We can still go ahead and go for some Dragon Breath against this Dialga. We can still go into our Meloetta and we can still go for some superpowers here. Let's see if they want to shield one here. Let's see. They want to no shield the first one. Interesting. Well, do they want to shield the second one though? And we see that they're going to shoot the second one at least, and we can go into our Alakazam, trying to farm them down. We still have our Meloetta pretty healthy alive. They go for an Iron Head, doesn't do as much as we see a Groudon coming in. You see how much damage counter does from this Pokemon. It's non-stab, but this thing just hits like a truck as we can get the Fire Punch through, and as we can shield this move up as well. We will be able to see that they go for the Earthquake, which means we can just go ahead and go for the Shadow Ball, and we can, but we actually not going to do this because they throw their Fire Punch. We can go for another Fire Punch here, and we will be able to go for 2 Fire Punches to clean this match pretty easily against the Dialga as well, as this Fire Punch easily will be enough to KO the opponent. Good game there. As we see the final game here, we're going to see that we see an opponent that has Garchomp in the lead. Horrible lead for us, especially as it's the Mudshot version. I don't really like this. They go into the Gyarados. Do they know that we have the what kind of moveset we have? I actually just see that the Gyarados seems to be a little bit under leveled. I think the Gyarados should have had already like 800 more. I think this most likely is like a level 35 Gyarados. So I guess they weren't completely done with leveling this thing up. We see the opponent coming now into their own Dragonite. We can go for one Shadow Ball. This is definitely a fully maxed out Dragonite though, so that's fine. We can go ahead and go into our Meloetta, and we try to swap into our Dragonite while they swap into their Garchomp, which is amazing for us. We're going to shield this move up, and we will be able to get even more energy now. As they go for one Earth Power, they don't really have a lot of energy left. I can just go ahead, go for my own Dragon Claw here. I can go for another Dragon Claw afterwards, and I should be able to win the game, even if they go for their own. Neither of them will KO, and I will be able to just farm them down with the Dragonite here. So this is going to be it for the video. Thanks for watching. Definitely the Dragonite is, not the Dragonite, the Alakazam is a cool Pokemon to have. Very squishy. Wouldn't really be meta if we ever get the meta back for the Mega Pokemon in the Master League. But yeah, that's going to be it for it. Thanks for watching. See you next video. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.